Paranormal Anomalies, Lakeside Cemetery, episode 7.
This location, it rocked our team to the core. This was the biggest team we had to date. And yeah, it was ridiculous.
This investigation was very taxing on everybody there, from emotions to physical to spiritual stuff.
Yeah, and with the first anomaly happening while we were setting up, which you guys are going to see here in a little bit, it started right away. And we have seen a lot of things over the years, and a few things in here we're kind of at a loss for words. We're a little stumped, too.
Oh, yeah.
To be honest with you. I mean, there was some really crazy events that took place, and, we hope even you guys could shed a little light on some of the stuff we had going on.
Yeah, that's right. If there's something that you know that we don't, feel free to comment it.
Yes, please. Throw whatever you want down in the comments below. Please subscribe while you're at it. So, as this investigation, like I was saying, as it got going, just setting up, we had an anomaly take place. And it was weird. We did a lot of review and a lot of
research. We did a lot of research. We tried to debunk this.
Here we go. We're going to show you the opening anomaly that took place. So as you can see, we have some sun glare kind of going on off the lens. It kind of moves about with it, kind of like that right there. You can kind of see it there at the bottom, kind of down at the bottom of the screen. And there's this other anomaly behind it, back by the road.
Now, as you see, the camera is moving side to side, up and down, but this anomaly in the middle, it does not move like a normal sunspot. Therefore, we really think that this is not a sunspot.
So this is where this anomaly really started to confuse us. As you can see, the car drives through or behind maybe, and the anomaly kind of dissipates. It's almost like it has its energy taken from it. Now this is footage from our 4K camera, same area, another camera, the vehicle's driving through, and yeah, like we don't catch the anomaly on this camera. It's ridiculous. So you see Jimmy and I start kind of heading over to this area where this was taking place. And when we get over there, the camera crew lets us know that it's just kind of right in front of us. So we kind of keep going and we get a little bit closer and a little bit closer. And as we're looking around, the camera crew lets us know that we are now pretty much standing in it. They tell us, stop. You guys are in it. Just hold up. So I kind of start moving around. You see me put my arms out, and I'm kind of standing there, and I'm trying to communicate, and I'm trying to see if anything's going on or what's going on. And it eventually just dissipates. It's gone. As we kind of got there, it just disappeared.
Yeah, and in that one moment, they had said that it, went up his arm, was going into his chest. Now, unfortunately, we don't have that. Okay. Now, the camera that caught this was the 24 megapixel, which I find ironic that a 4K couldn't pick up this, but the 24 megapixel could.
And we find this actually happens quite a bit with older equipment to newer equipment. Um, we don't know. A lot of people say that it kind of goes back to the Polaroid days and the high 8 cameras when those were the real things capturing real evidence. This digital world.
Camera in the lower part of the cemetery. We're back in
The 1970s, the flooding happened, and all of the coffins rose up from the ground, and they were just floating all over this lower section of the cemetery nearest to the lake.
Did it not start a panic throughout the whole community?
Oh, it did. When the first person I hear rolled up into the cemetery, they seen it. They freaked out, driving into town like a mad person, not knowing what to do.
I wouldn't know what to do either. I'd be quite beside myself on that moment.
I would too.
In this part of the investigation, one of our investigators was panning with this camera, and they actually happened upon this picture.
Hey everybody, Mike, Anton, and Jimmy here with Paranormal Anomalies. We are on location, Lakeside Cemetery by Wabick, Minnesota. Some of you have heard the stories over the years. Well, we're going to lay it out for you real quick. In the 70s, there was a huge flooding problem with this lake. And down the hill here, there are actual grave plots. And in the 70s, when the lake flooded up, a bunch of the coffins floated up out of the ground and were just floating around this cemetery. Over the years, weird anomalies have happened here that we believe causes the residents to have a little more activity than others. So we're hoping tonight we can catch some of those anomalies on camera and bring them to you uncut, unedited, right to your screen. So everybody, behind me is the crematorium chapel that for over 50 years took care of the deceased loved ones here in Wabick and the surrounding area. We were able to actually get an SLS camera and a surveillance camera up in this building, and hopefully we will be able to bring you guys some really good footage. Otherwise, we're going to give you a breakdown of what we're going to be doing this evening. So, off to my left, right behind Anton, is the hill we were talking about earlier in the opening. We're going to be going down there in a few minutes, and we're going to do our first initial investigation. We're going to try to get some hits over here with our SLS camera, and we're going to try to capture some on the night vision cameras. We also have the old trusty Sony cameras, the voice recorders. We also have our other night vision cameras. We have brought out all the toys this evening. Grid lights, here. Pretty neat, right? We're going to be taking out all the stops and trying to capture the best evidence possible. So come, follow us. We're heading down the hill.
So much fun. Thank you. I don't know. This is gonna be so tough. You went first and I'm walking around over there. Oh. Good foot. Watch the cord. I should go there earlier.
Good?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Hey, buddy. Well, how you doing? Good? You not.
So at this point in the investigation, a few of the investigators kind of started to get this feeling, this weird vibe from across the upper part of the lower part of the cemetery. All right, so we're talking about the area that's kind of right next to the road, right before you get down by the lake. And where you can see, we're kind of looking up the hill, and that's kind of where the road is at the top way up there. And we're looking around, and we just kept getting this weird vibe. And we thought it was like a child's voice or something that a few of us heard.
Yeah, it actually was messing with us a couple times, especially with the spirit box. And this voice, this child's voice, had us going all over the part of this cemetery. And it actually led us to a child's gravestone,
which is kind of right up here off to the left. And as we were making our way there, it was really eerie feeling kind of came over us. And it was gone really quick, which was kind of weird, and it kind of went right back to that kid feeling. And so we kind of went up here, and right up here is where the tombstone is. So then we got around the tombstone, and we were all kind of checking it out and seeing what was going on. And then a few of the investigators off in the distance kind of noticed something. And as you see, Jimmy and I, we start making our way down the hill to go check this out. It was kind of weird, like it was almost like something was moving. And we get up there, and the entire team gets up there with all the cameras and all the equipment. We start kind of doing an EVP session, and we kind of start spanning everywhere with the Sony and with all the other stuff with the portable SLS. And we start getting a few different hits on different pieces of equipment. And this piece of here is one caught on the Sony. It's kind of off behind me as we were doing the EVP session. And as the camera spans, somebody takes a photo. I believe it was Jimmy. And this is what they capture. Off in the distance, there's this anomaly to the left next to a tree. Kind of looks like a body, full standing figure, head, torso, legs. And as we get even closer and zoom in a little bit more here, you can actually see the entire entity up close. It was kind of creepy during review to see this, and we were taken back, really.
Right. Oh, I don't have the memory card with me. Yeah, so let's rip the back of that. I want we need to get part of that. We want to back it up at some point. Good job, everybody. I've got one here, and I got another one right here.
You guys smell foul?
Second. Come over here.
Ow!
Watch the stone.
Yeah.
Take your time, go slow. And we lost it. Moving fast. Somebody take your camera off night vision and get this over my shoulder.
Got it? Got it. Mm-hmm. There's a stone over there. Mm-hmm.
I wish I had your camera because as I approached it, everybody, here's our.
Oop, I'm sorry.
Take this. It's recorded. It's actually live feeding right now.
Alright. Alright, so see in that little corner. It's still there. And it's gone. can't tell if I'm getting it from up here.
Yeah, I can't.
No, it's not there anymore.
No.
I'll just see if I can get this thing from up here.
So me and Mike, we're standing next to each other. Mike is panning with the portable SLS. Now, normally we don't accept SLS images of tombstones, bushes, trees, just because they give a false reading. But as you will see here, this image actually happened to be on the ground, which took us back a moment.
So, after all this crazy evidence and all this crazy happenings down the hill, we made our way back up to base camp with the van and where everybody was parked. And we took a breather. We took a few minutes and kind of caught our thoughts and our breaths and everything. And we were kind of sitting there and hanging out. And a few of the investigators kept noticing something off in the distance down the road, which would be kind of going north through the back part of the cemetery on that last frontage road by the lake. And we kept noticing these weird lights, and just people were noticing a bunch of different things. Like everybody was noticing something else. And as we got our bearings, we collected ourselves, we decided we wanted to go down there, just because all of us having all these weird little experiences kind of said we really need to go down there and check this out.
Yeah, everyone just had this feeling that we needed to go this way, which was interesting just because everyone had that same feeling.
So after, like we were saying, we collected ourselves and whatnot, we ended up getting down that way.
The whole place had like its own feel to it. It was so dark. It was heavy. Everyone could feel this presence. It's so hard to describe.
And it was different for everybody. Each feeling we had was a little bit different, especially when we were talking about it. 'Cause we always try to say communicate during investigations, because sometimes when crazy stuff starts happening, overwhelming emotions and feelings can take place, and it can really hurt an individual long term. So that's why communicating amongst your team is a very important thing. Now, getting back to what Jimmy was talking about, as we got down there, I thought I seen something.
So, at this point, I'm following Mike. I have the flashlight trying to guide his way, and he swears that he sees something.
So I felt like I was being drawn to this area, and I just kind of kept going with it. I had that portable SLS in my hand, and I just kept going. Jimmy was kind of guiding my way. We were making sure we weren't stepping over anybody's tombstones, anybody's gravestones, or anybody's grave sites. And we got over to this one spot, and this is where it got interesting. After spanning around this tombstone area, we kind of got this hit just off in the distance, about 15-20 feet away. And we decide, you know what, let's kind of move closer. Let's see what this is about. And as we were moving, I thought that Jimmy kicked me in my leg or something. But all of a sudden, I'm down on one knee.
And as you can see, I put my hand out because I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? You all right? Are you okay? You can see them trying to show comfort. And back in that clip, if you look, his left eye is completely darkened. It's almost like he got black eye.
He kicked me in the back of the knee or something, but I realized that it was something else. There was something there messing with us. We moved over to this other little area in the cemetery and ended up hitting this on the portable SLS as I spanned and turned around. So, one of the investigators was spanning around with the 2.7K camera. And wasn't it off in a distance?
Yeah, it was actually almost in the wood line of the forest.
Right, that's right. And as you can see, these eyes kind of appear out of nowhere.
Which is interesting because it is watching us. Now, this is not a predator, this is not a deer.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah. Russell or
Like it actually made me move away.
are we talking live or are we talking?
We're not talking alive.
Just walking on the north side of the cemetery here.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this off, I guess. Okay, so
Keep that way.
Jimmy and I and the group were just walking on the north side of the cemetery here, and something weird caught our attention out here in the woods. So we're gonna go take a quick little peek and see
Careful, guys.
Aww,
what is what.
that is cute.
You want us to stay back?
Yeah,
Yep.
stay back. Let me know if you start getting any hits on that. I'll come over and.
Yeah. I want to hear that again.
What did it sound like?
Just like Buell.
Just like, oh, just like Buell.
Like there's times where like things, I want it to move away.
So, what's going on is when we were walking past this, it sounded possibly like a growl. And it was,
Fortunately, someone doesn't have an EVP on them.
yes, I do.
I don't, and I was closer to
Oh, you were closer to that, sure. So, we don't know exactly, but it sounded like a growl. So we started to work our way kind of towards it. It did not appear to be animalish. You know, an animal growl and other growls are pretty distinctive in our opinions. You grow up in northern Minnesota, you hear enough growls by animals over the years.
Yeah. And let me tell you, that was not one of them. I've been in the woods
Let's go this way.
many times.
When Jimmy and I came out here to do our initial walkthrough and we were driving through, in this same area, we got a hit on the same type of feelings and type of situation that played out with that noise. So I guess we're not surprised that it has recreated itself here at this point in time. Is there any entities that would like to speak with us? We have a voice recorder right here on the SLS portable. Please speak into that. We're going to be holding on that EVP session. We have staff talking about a current situation behind us. Is there any entities here that would like to speak with us? So we didn't really get anything during the EVP session out here in the woods. And one of the investigators was really struggling. So I ended up taking her back to base camp to get her off her feet and give her a few minutes to kind of catch her thoughts. And Jimmy and Anton stayed behind to do an EVP session.
With the spirit box.
Hi.
Even Mike. It sounded like it said Mike.
This is the EVP played back a couple times. So as you heard in this last EVP, it clearly says Mike something. We don't know exactly what that last part is, but we did find it very interesting.
And why don't you throw it down in the comments below what you think?
So, as you heard, it said Mike. Now, when me and Anton were standing there, Mike radioed us and was asking what was going on. So, none of us ever said his name, and obviously he didn't say his name. But this entity decided to say Mike something. Again, we don't know what that something was, but it was very interesting that it knew his name just by a walkie.
And at this point, after all this happened, Anton was starting to get very uncomfortable being over in that area.
Very uncomfortable.
So they decided to make their way back.
So, after the event that had happened, this person, Anton, doesn't back off from much. The last recording that he thought he heard scared him.
Even in future investigations like White Lakes, he started to get startled very easily.
You still reflecting from possession? So when he was talking about that he was getting infected, like something that snapped where I immediately got angry. Like you guys captured something, it made me want to fight. So I got to the point where I was walking up, like really close to that door, where I just wanted to like start hitting the wall.
Oh, jeez.
So I had to.
Whoa. Yeah.
But like now it like
We need to wrap this up.
it's
Yeah, trust me, we need to wrap this up and get out of here.
it's
We're done. Yeah. We're shutting this shit down.
Okay.
Take a minute
So
Anton,
at this
relax.
point in the investigation, we pretty much just shut it down. Anton was literally laying on the ground, as you've seen. He really couldn't function at that point. All of us had foregone some sort of interesting anomaly that was messing with us in different ways for everybody, actually. So we decided to call it an investigation, wrap it up, and start getting everything put away. So looking back at it for me, it was interesting from the minute go, to be honest with you. When I felt like something kicked me in my knee, went down, that whole time back there on Demon Row, it was something else, I tell you what.
Yeah. And for me, the entire investigation after a certain point, I just became numb. As you see in the videos, I didn't pick up any equipment. I just was kind of like there. There, but not there, which was very interesting. And for Anton, it just shut him down completely.
You know, the other investigators had a lot of emotional things going on. It was a really interesting thing. We almost felt like we were kind of being approached on a little bit in this investigation.
Yeah, which leads to actually 3 of our investigators at this time to just up and quit. So this is the end of season 1.
What might season 2 bring?